Joanna Marie is one of our favourite acts on the ship, and I want to say violinist, but you're so much more than that. How would you describe what you do?
Just an entertainer. You know, I'm playing violin, I'm talking about my life, and I'm trying to serve my audience the best I can.
You have a special violin, don't you, with the...
Oh yeah.
So tell me about your violin.
So my violin was made for me especially in England, and they are see-through. They have lights built in, and so they are also very entertaining. They look very special, very different. They sound more like a cello, I would say.
Right.
They have like a warm sound, which is unique because very often electric violin, they would sound a little bit like a duck, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So you have a part where you walk around the audience and you turn your light on, don't you?
Yes.
And you always say, I'm going to try and turn my light on. Is it temperamental? Do you worry?
Well, it is. The switch on, it's a little bit complicated because I have to press both points at the same time, and sometimes my hand is shaking, sometimes I will be not able to turn on the lights.
Has it ever happened?
Of course. Many times.
So how do you black your way out of that one?
It is complicated. It's just like very stressful situation.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So there's a lovely part of your show when you talk about your family, and you show pictures of your daughter and your husband, and very romantic. You're married to, I believe he's going to be a ship's captain.
Yes, he is right now safety officer. I believe his next contract will be staff captain already. Well, yeah, it is a moment in my show when I really want to introduce my life to my audience.
Yeah.
I want to open a little bit more, because what I really don't like that people are sitting in the theater and we are performing on stage, and there is this border, this wall, this distance, and I don't like this distance. And I think on ships, when we perform, it is so important to fight with that distance, to create a bond or a road to our audience.
Yeah, so they feel they know you better.
Yes, so they feel they connect with me better, and they can be entertained better.
Yeah, and you have a daughter?
Yes, I do have a daughter. She's 6 years old, Aneta, and she's home with my parents right now.
And how is she musical?
She chose for now to play the piano.
Right.
So she's having piano lessons. But I still hope that one day she will say, Mommy, can you teach me play the violin?
Aww. When you were young, you show some photos on the screen, and one of them is winning prizes.
And I was a concert master, which is a very responsible role for a young girl. But that was something which I loved to do. I loved playing with orchestra and being in charge.
Right.
So you
From
have
a young
support.
age.
Yes, you have support of this great group of musicians, but you can make a mark. You can show them how you want the bow goes up or bow goes down. The accent is here, and you are the only one who is communicating with the conductor. So that was my thing, which I really loved to do.
So, am I right in thinking that you have a lot of musical talent in your family?
Oh yeah, I come from very musical family.
Yeah.
My mom is playing violin and she's singing. My dad is playing the piano. My sister is singing as well. But my great grandfather, Julius Fučík, who was probably the most musical of all, in 1897, composed piece of music that is probably more famous around the world than David Beckham.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was that?
And even David Beckham knows this piece of music. Every time you think of the circus,
Yes.
I guarantee that tune goes through your head.
Da, 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 da,
Yes.
da, da. Yeah.
This is entrance of the gladiators. This is my great grandfather's.
He composed that?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites was you play a piece that a lot of people walk down the aisle to.
You're thinking about the canon of
Yes,
Pachelbel,
which
yeah?
is so beautiful.
I love this tune.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what you walked down the aisle to.
Or it was Gabriel's oboe from the Mission.
Right.
Yeah, but it was right before the wedding ceremony, because our wedding ceremonies in Poland, they are still very traditional.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
Well, everybody thinks that we met on ships. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We were studying together in music academy in Poland, in north of Poland, and we were friends for quite a long time. And then one day he said that, you know, Joanna, if I could be your boyfriend for just 1 week, I would be the happiest person in the world.
Oh, romantic.
I said, I have 1 week. And turns out now it's more than 20 years together.
That's amazing.
I took him on ships because I started performing on ships earlier, because he was 2 years down in the music academy. So I had to wait for him to graduate. And he didn't want to come to ships. He didn't know what to expect. When he started working with me, performing with me in my band, he fell in love with ships. And he said, "Oh, Joanna, you know, one day I want to drive a ship."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Okay, let's go to staff captain. Let's ask what's the career, how it looks, how you can apply for this job." Well, he had to go to maritime school. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He had to start from the scratch, completely different career. He had to learn physics, mathematics to be an officer. It took him a few years, but he was really, I could see this sparkle in his eyes. That he loves it, that he wants it.
Yeah.
And then he was climbing up in his career, and now he's safety officer, soon staff captain.
Amazing. That's a good place to end.
Thank you very much, Joanna.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed hearing Joanna Marie share with Jean, then do listen to Jean's other interviews with top cruise celebrities. Here, she visits the Queen's photographer, Ken Lennox, on his barge at St Catherine's Dock.
The Queen came to Paisley and the schools lined up a section outside Paisley Abbey. And she crossed the road and passed within about 10 feet of me. And she looked great and gave a big smile, which was just right into the camera. And I gave it to my local paper, and they said to me, "You should try the Daily Express with that photograph."
Wow.
So I sold it to Daily Express for 22 guineas. And the picture editor invited me to come into the office. So I went into the office in Glasgow to see him. And he burst out laughing because I had gone in my school uniform.
Oh, how old were you then?
I was just about between 14 and a half and 15
right.
sort of thing. And he burst into laughter and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, son. I'll pay your train fares and come back when you've grown up."
Yeah.
And when I left the Express many years later, he said, The one thing that's nice about Ken, he never did grow up.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I became the Sun's picture editor in the 90s.
Here she meets Marty Kristian at home at
I was
Christmas.
dig out an old mate who has genuinely had one of the biggest #1 records in the world ever.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, Stu, yeah.
But it's true, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, Marty Kristian, who taught the world to sing.
Wow.
When he was, da-da-da-da, when he was in the New Seekers.
Yeah.
Although you'll always be a New Seeker, I think, to everybody, really. You can't get away from that, can you?
That's the legacy, really, as you say, Stuart. Teach the World to Sing was kind of a gentle peace anthem of the 70s, really, wasn't it? The words and the sort of gentle music of the time, yeah.
It was brilliant. Everybody knew the words to that song.
It wasn't one of my favourite songs,
Wasn't it?
but I was proud to have done it. The shirt that David did his very first performance of Space Oddity.
Wow.
So that was it.
And is this the shirt?
It is the shirt that I do talk about on the cruise ships as well.
Come on then, tell us more.
And I'm glad
Carol's not here.
I'm glad Carol's not around. I don't know where she is at the moment. But what happened was, you know, I used to wear the shirt from time to time, and one day I went to look for it in the wardrobe, and I flicked through, and it wasn't there. And I said, "Carol, what's happened to the shirt?" She said, "Oh, it had holes under the arms and things like that." And I wrapped it up. I've taken it to the Oxfam shop. I said, "You what?"
And Holby City's actor Robert
Exactly,
Daws.
and you can go from character to character to character, whatever serves the story. And I think writing, I don't know whether you'd agree, Stuart, it is pretty much the same. I look at it as an improvisation in my head. So that's where my acting experience, I think, may in some way influence my writing. Whether you're writing a book or whether you're giving a performance or whether you're directing a film, the onus is to entertain.
Do you know, I don't feel lonely when I'm writing because, for me, my characters are in my head.
Yeah.
And they are acting out what they're doing, and I'm really just taking dictation.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think in pictures. I always have done.
It's all to do with plots. You know, you need a good... P.G. Woodhouse used to say brilliantly, the great comic writer, he said, what I look for more than anything else are plots. He said, I like nothing better than wrestling a good plot to the ground and pinning its arms behind its back. Then I sit back and write it.
Wherever you're going in the Caribbean, don't forget your driving licence. It's a good proof of age, and some ports now require photo ID.
We've arrived in the beautiful Montego Bay, and there's even a rainbow, so I'm going to go searching for the pot of gold.
Please subscribe to Jean's channel, Cruise Doris Visits. Jean cruises into ports all over the world, and there are over 500 port guides, as well as some great interviews with guests you know and love.